Before we begin, pause for 1 second. If you want stories that wake you up, stories that don't lie to you, stories that tell you the truth people whisper but never say out loud, like, share, and subscribe to Tales by Savvy Sam. Now stay with me, because this story may hurt, but it may also save your future. At 32, Daniel discovered something terrifying. Not poverty. He had known poverty all his life. What scared him was something worse. Time. He was sitting on a cracked plastic chair outside a small office building, sweating through his only good shirt, waiting for an interview that would never change his life. Around him were younger people. Fresh faces, bright eyes, loud dreams. They talked about opportunities and growth. Daniel stayed quiet. He had heard those words for 10 years. They had done nothing for him. Daniel had done everything right. At least, everything he was told was right. He went to school. He respected elders. He worked hard. He obeyed the law. He waited for his turn. He believed that if he were fair, life would be fair to him. But life never showed up. That morning, while waiting, he scrolled through his phone. He saw a former classmate post photos from Dubai. Another bought land. Another launched a startup. They were not smarter than Daniel. Some had failed school. Some used to borrow money from him. Yet they were rich. Daniel was still waiting. That was the moment the thought entered his mind. Quiet, dangerous, unforgettable. Maybe the game is not fair. And maybe it was never meant to be. No one tells you this when you're young. They tell you, be patient. Work hard. Don't cut corners. Your time will come. But no one tells you that after 30, time stops being patient with you. Your body slows. Your responsibilities multiply. Fear becomes louder. Risk becomes heavier. And worst of all, mistakes become expensive. That interview ended quickly. We'll get back to you, they said. They never did. Daniel walked home under the hot sun, shoes dusty, mind loud. On the way, he passed a new restaurant. Expensive. Full. Loud laughter. Expensive cars outside. Inside was a man he recognized. Mr. Cola. A man who once sold phone accessories on the street. A man people used to mock. A man who never talked about fairness. That night, Daniel did something unusual. He swallowed his pride and sent a message to Mr. Cola. Sir, I don't want money. I want truth. They met 2 days later. No motivational talk. No fake smiles. Mr. Cola looked at Daniel and said words that would split his life into before and after. If you want to be rich after 30, stop playing the game you were taught. That game is designed to keep you busy, not wealthy. Daniel listened. The rich don't break the law, Mr. Cola continued. They break assumptions. That sentence burned. Poor people think money comes from hard work. Rich people know money comes from positioning. Daniel frowned. Mr. Cola leaned forward. After 30, don't try to be good. Try to be strategic. Don't try to be fair. Try to be ahead. Daniel asked the question everyone is afraid to ask. Isn't that cheating? Mr. Cola smiled. No. Cheating is illegal. What I'm talking about is using rules you were never taught. Then he began to explain. He said, the system rewards ownership, not effort. Salaries are designed to keep you alive, not free. Loyalty is praised because it is profitable to employers. Debt is dangerous for the poor but powerful for the rich. Information moves money faster than labor ever will. Daniel felt angry. Why don't they teach us this? Mr. Cola's answer was cold. Because if everyone knew, the ladder would collapse. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He realized something brutal. The rich warn you not to cheat, not because they are moral, but because they are already ahead. They say, don't rush. Be content. Money isn't everything. but they say it from comfort. Daniel saw his past clearly now. 10 years of effort. No leverage. No assets. No system. Just survival. And survival, he learned, is the most expensive lifestyle. That was the night Daniel decided something that scared him. He would stop chasing approval. He would stop waiting. He would stop playing small. Not by crime. Not by luck. But by learning the real rules of money. Rules like, build skills that scale, not jobs that trap. Attach yourself to money flow, not job titles. Learn sales, systems, and leverage before passion. Use the internet not for entertainment, but extraction. Delay comfort, not dreams. Daniel understood this painful truth. If you don't choose a hard life early, life will choose a harder one later. He was already late, but not finished. This was only the beginning. Daniel stopped lying to himself. That was the first violence he committed. Violence against illusion. At 32, there was no more time for motivational quotes. No more waiting for miracles. No more pretending effort alone would save him. Because after 30, the world does something cruel. It stops forgiving mistakes. At 20, failure is experience. At 30, failure is irresponsibility. At 40, failure is regret. Nobody says this out loud, but everyone knows it. Daniel began to notice how people spoke to him now. Less patience. Less encouragement. More judgment. Society quietly whispers, "You should have figured it out by now." And that whisper kills dreams. Mr. Kohler didn't soften the truth. "You are no longer young," he said one evening. "You are dangerously late." Daniel felt insulted. But insult doesn't change reality. After 30, Mr. Kohler continued, life splits people into two groups. Those who understand the game, and those who keep believing in fairness. Daniel asked, "What game?" Mr. Kohler laughed. "Not kindly. The money game. And it is not moral. It is not kind. It is efficient." That word hit hard. Efficient. Money does not care if you are good. Money does not care if you are honest. Money does not care if you suffered. Money flows where it is pulled, not where it is deserved. Daniel had been taught the opposite. Work hard. Be loyal. Stay humble. But humility doesn't pay rent. Loyalty doesn't build assets. Hard work without leverage only builds fatigue. The rich know something the poor never hear early enough. Income is not wealth. Control is. Daniel looked around his life. He had no assets, no systems, no leverage, no control over time. He traded hours for money, and money for survival. That is not living. That is renting existence. Mr. Kohler leaned closer. "Let me be cruel with you, so life doesn't have to." Then he said words that burned Daniel's chest. "If you are still depending on one income after 30, you are one problem away from collapse." Daniel wanted to argue, but he couldn't. Sickness, job loss, family emergency. One hit, and everything would fall apart. That's when the real truth arrived. The rules after 30 are not about morality. They are about positioning. The rich don't ask, "Is this fair?" They ask, "Does this compound?" They don't chase money. They build machines that attract money. Daniel had no machine. Just effort. And effort expires. Mr. Kohler broke it down brutally. The system rewards three things: ownership, leverage, information. Everything else is noise. Ownership of skills that scale, digital assets, businesses, not titles. Leverage through internet, capital, other people's time. Information that tells you where money is moving, what people are desperate for, how to position before the crowd arrives. Daniel felt anger rise. "So what about being good?" he asked. Mr. Kohler answered without hesitation. "Be good to people. But never be naive with systems." That sentence changed everything. Because the poor confuse kindness with submission. The rich do not. Daniel began to see the trap clearly. The system praises fairness because fairness keeps everyone moving at the same speed. But wealth is built by those who move early, move quietly, move strategically. The most dangerous lie Daniel believed was this: if I just work harder, I'll catch up. You don't catch up in a rigged race. You change lanes. After 30, speed matters more than perfection. Direction matters more than effort. Mr. Kohler was ruthless. You don't need passion first. You need cash flow. Passion grows when pressure disappears. Daniel remembered all the advice he followed that led nowhere. Follow your passion. Money will come later. Later never came. The rich don't follow passion. They follow problems. And where problems are painful, money flows fast. Daniel learned the real hierarchy. Survival money keeps you alive. Stability money pays bills. Power money buys time. Freedom money buys options. Most people die at level 1. And after 30, dying slowly feels normal. That's the tragedy. Daniel finally accepted something painful. No one was coming to save him. Not government. Not employers. Not mentors. If he stayed fair, polite, obedient, he would stay poor. Not because he was bad, but because the system rewards those who play it intentionally. That night, Daniel made a brutal promise to himself. He would stop explaining his goals to small thinkers. Stop waiting for permission. Stop wasting time on entertainment. Stop chasing approval. Stop being comfortable with being broke. Comfort, he realized, is the most expensive drug. And poverty is not just lack of money. It is lack of options. Daniel didn't feel inspired. He felt angry, awakened, ashamed of wasted years. And that pain, raw, sharp, honest, became fuel. Because regret is heavy. But regret with action becomes power. This was the chapter where Daniel stopped being nice to himself and started being serious. Daniel did not fear hard work. He feared judgment. That was the truth he avoided for years. Not hunger, not suffering, not failure, but what people would say if he tried and failed loudly. Mental poverty does not begin with lack of money. It begins with permission seeking. Daniel had been asking for permission his whole life. Permission to dream. Permission to start. Permission to fail. And the world never gives permission. Mr. Kohler said something brutal that afternoon. Fear is not weakness. Fear is conditioning. Daniel didn't understand at first. Then Mr. Kohler explained. From childhood, Daniel was trained to fear embarrassment. Fear authority. Fear being different. Fear instability. Fear standing alone. Society does this intentionally. Because fearful people are manageable. They take jobs they hate. They accept wages that insult them. They stay quiet when exploited. They wait for approval before moving. Mental poverty is obedience disguised as morality. Daniel remembered every time he said, "Let me wait. I'm not ready. What if it doesn't work?" People will laugh. Those were not thoughts. Those were chains. Mr. Kohler didn't motivate him. He dismantled him. You think rich people are fearless? No. They just fear staying small more than failing. That sentence shook Daniel. Because Daniel feared failure more than mediocrity. And mediocrity had been killing him slowly. The truth hurt. Poverty survives because fear protects it. Fear of risk. Fear of instability. Fear of being misunderstood. Mental poverty whispers, be realistic. Don't aim too high. At least you have something. That something keeps you stuck forever. Daniel realized his excuses were sophisticated lies. I don't have capital. I don't have connections. I don't have time. But the real excuse was simple. I don't want to look foolish. The poor fear embarrassment. The rich fear stagnation. That is the psychological divide, Mr. Kohler said. After 30, excuses become identities. Daniel felt exposed. Because after 30, people don't say, he's figuring it out. They say, that's just how he is. That is terrifying. Because once society labels you, it stops expecting growth from you. Daniel saw the brutal pattern. People around him didn't fail because they lacked opportunity. They failed because they protected their ego. They chose dignity over growth, comfort over discomfort, certainty over possibility. Mental poverty teaches you to defend your limitations. Daniel had defended his limits passionately. I'm not the business type. I'm not good with money. I wasn't born lucky. Those sentences felt harmless. They were lethal. Mr. Kohler was merciless. If you keep explaining why you can't win, your mind will make sure you never do. Daniel began to understand why some people rise fast when they finally wake up. They don't gain intelligence. They lose fear. The fear of starting late. The fear of being judged. The fear of looking greedy. The fear of wanting more. Society shames ambition. But ambition is not greed. Ambition is self-respect. Daniel remembered how people mocked rich people. They think they're better than everyone. But nobody mocked poverty the same way. Mental poverty is celebrated as humility. That is the trick. Mr. Kohler delivered the most brutal truth yet. If you don't believe you deserve wealth, you will sabotage every chance to get it. Daniel saw it clearly. He avoided opportunities that required visibility. He avoided conversations about money. He avoided charging what he was worth. He avoided dreaming too loudly. Because deep down, he felt wealth was for others. That belief had nothing to do with reality. It was inherited. Mental poverty is passed down like a family heirloom. Parents teach safety, not scale. Schools teach obedience, not leverage. Religion teaches patience, not positioning. Daniel realized something painful. Nobody prepared him for abundance. They prepared him for survival. Survival thinking creates workers. Abundance thinking creates builders. The shift was violent. Daniel had to kill parts of himself. The version that needed approval, needed guarantees, needed praise, needed certainty. That version could never be rich. Because wealth requires acting before confidence arrives. The poor wait to feel ready. The rich move while afraid. Fear does not disappear. It gets outvoted. Mr. Kohler ended the conversation with words Daniel would never forget. If you don't risk embarrassment now, you will live with regret later. That night, Daniel sat alone. No music. No phone. No distraction. Just truth. He saw his future clearly. Two paths. One where he stayed mentally poor, safe, polite, invisible. Another where he offended comfort, challenged fear, and rebuilt himself violently. This was not about money anymore. This was about identity. Because money only obeys those who believe they can command it. And for the first time in his life, Daniel stopped asking, "Am I allowed?" and started asking, "What if I don't care?" That question is dangerous. That question creates the 1%. Daniel did not become cruel. He became selective. And that offended people. Nobody warns you about this part. When you start changing, people don't clap. They question. They mock. They guilt trip. Because your growth threatens their comfort. Daniel learned quickly. Poverty has a social circle. And it is loud. Friends who waste time together call it bonding. Family members who discourage ambition call it love. Communities that fear risk call it wisdom. But wisdom that produces nothing is just tradition. Mr. Kohler was surgical with his words. You don't escape poverty with motivation. You escape it with elimination. Daniel didn't like that. But he needed it. Because distractions are polite killers. They don't attack you. They invite you. Come hang out. Relax small. You deserve a break. Tomorrow is still there. Tomorrow is the most expensive lie ever sold. Daniel took inventory of his life. And what he saw scared him. Too many conversations that led nowhere. Too much time explaining dreams to people who never built anything. Too much energy managing other people's feelings. He realized something uncomfortable. Access is expensive. Every call costs focus. Every visit costs momentum. Every argument costs clarity. The poor think cutting people is arrogance. The rich know it is maintenance. Mr. Kohler explained it simply. If someone doesn't add money, knowledge, discipline, or peace, they are subtracting. Daniel didn't argue, because his life proved it. He had friends who laughed at ambition, friends who mocked consistency, friends who feared discipline. They weren't bad people. They were dangerous. Not because they hated him, but because they normalized stagnation. Daniel learned a brutal rule. You cannot build a different future with people who are comfortable with your current one. So he began to disappear. No announcement. No explanation. No drama. Just distance. He stopped answering every call. Stopped attending every gathering. Stopped debating his decisions. Silence became his strategy. And silence offended people deeply. They said, "You've changed. You think you're better. Money has entered your head." But Daniel knew the truth. Focus had entered his life. And focus demands sacrifice. He cut distractions ruthlessly. Social media went silent. News consumption ended. Endless scrolling died. Not because they were evil, but because they stole attention. And attention is currency before money ever appears. Daniel created rules. Cold rules. No phone before work. No idle conversations. No entertainment without progress. No explaining goals to skeptics. No loyalty to familiarity. Comfort was fired. Discipline was hired. This part hurt more than poverty ever did. Because loneliness is louder than hunger. But loneliness with purpose is temporary. Poverty with comfort is permanent. Daniel understood why most people never escape. They want wealth without isolation. Growth without discomfort. Results without discipline. That combination does not exist. Mr. Kohler said, "If everyone understands your path, you are probably not moving fast enough." Daniel stopped seeking validation. Validation delays action. He didn't need people to believe in him. He needed time, silence, and execution. He learned the difference between support and sabotage. Support challenges you, stretches you, holds you accountable. Sabotage comforts you, excuses you, keeps you familiar. Most people don't sabotage intentionally. They do it emotionally. They want you close. They want you safe. They want you predictable. Growth makes you unpredictable. And unpredictability scares people. Daniel stopped sharing progress. Success attracts envy faster than money. He moved quietly, worked early, learned obsessively, executed relentlessly. While others talked, Daniel built. While others rested, Daniel positioned. While others joked, Daniel studied. This wasn't balance. This was war. A war against mediocrity. And mediocrity fights back through people. The hardest cut was family. Not rejection. Boundaries. Daniel learned that love does not require access, and respect does not require explanation. He stopped funding other people's irresponsibility, stopped carrying emotional baggage that wasn't his, stopped feeling guilty for wanting more, because guilt is poverty's favorite weapon. The rich are not heartless. They are focused. Daniel accepted a painful truth. Everyone cannot come with you. Some people are only meant for chapters, not the whole book. And dragging them forward only slows you down. This chapter changed Daniel permanently. He lost friends. He lost invitations. He lost familiarity. But he gained something rare. Momentum. Clarity. Direction. He wasn't rich yet, but he was no longer distracted. And distraction is the real enemy. Because money respects speed. And speed requires silence. Daniel didn't feel lonely anymore. He felt dangerous. Because for the first time, nothing was pulling him backward. Daniel stopped dreaming. He started executing. This chapter was not about motivation. It was about mechanics. Because money does not reward belief. Money rewards correct action, repeated long enough. Mr. Kohler gave Daniel the final truth, the one people hate most. There is no secret. There is only a timeline people refuse to respect. Daniel learned that wealth is not built in motivation bursts. It is built in phases. Miss a phase, and the cost multiplies. Phase 1, ages 30 to 35, cash flow or die. After 30, your first enemy is instability. Dreams mean nothing if your bills control you. So the first rule was brutal. Stop chasing status. Chase cash flow. Not salary pride. Not job titles. Not passion projects. Cash flow. Daniel focused on skills that solve urgent problems. Can be sold immediately. Work online. Scale with repetition. Examples Mr. Kohler gave: legal, realistic, 2026 proof. Sales, closing, appointment setting, deal structuring. High-income digital skills, copywriting, funnel building, paid ads, automation. B2B services, lead generation, CRM setup, AI workflow setup. Commission-based roles, where effort multiplies income. If a skill doesn't pay within 90 days, it's a hobby, Mr. Kohler said. Daniel cut everything else. No endless learning. No certificates for pride. No free work for exposure. He monetized fast. Because cash flow buys time, and time buys strategy. Most people stay poor because they skip this phase and chase big dreams with empty pockets. That is fantasy. Phase 2. Ages 35 to 40, build systems, not income. Once Daniel stabilized cash flow, the rules changed again. Income was no longer enough. Now he needed systems. Mr. Kohler explained it simply. If money stops when you stop, you don't have wealth. You have a job. So Daniel did 3 things. He separated income from identity, no emotional attachment to how money came. Pride was fired. He reinvested aggressively, not in lifestyle. In tools, automation, outsourcing, and assets. He built repeatability. Anything that worked once had to work without him. Daniel stopped asking, "How much can I make?" He started asking, "How many times can this repeat?" This is where most people quit. Because reinvestment delays gratification. But delay is the price of dominance. Phase 3, ages 40 to 45, own or be owned. Now came the most dangerous shift. Ownership. Daniel learned that workers earn. Owners decide. Investors multiply. He moved from selling time to controlling channels. Audience. Distribution. Data. Equity. He didn't rush. Ownership too early kills people. Ownership too late traps people. Timing matters. Daniel invested in businesses with cash flow, assets that compound, equity, not applause. This phase is quiet. No flashy lifestyle. No noise. Just positioning. Because wealth is built silently, then revealed suddenly. The principles that changed everything. Daniel lived by rules that offended people. Fairness is irrelevant to money. Money follows value, leverage, and positioning, not effort. Speed beats perfection. After 30 late action costs more than early mistakes. Information before emotion. Decisions are numbers, not feelings. Boring is powerful. Consistency beats excitement. Loneliness is temporary. Regret is permanent. If it doesn't scale, it's a trap. Wealth is built before it's seen. Daniel realized the final truth too late, but not too late. Most people don't fail because they lack opportunity. They fail because they start when fear already owns them. Fear of looking stupid. Fear of instability. Fear of being judged. By the time they feel ready, time has already punished them. Daniel didn't become rich overnight, but he became dangerous to poverty, because now he understood the game. And games are won by those who learn rules early, play unemotionally, stay longer than others. The wake-up call to you, my listener. If you are listening to this and you are over 30, hear this clearly. You do not have time for endless preparation, comfort-based decisions, explaining yourself, waiting for clarity. Clarity comes after movement. Start messy. Start scared. Start now. Because 5 years from today will arrive whether you move or not. And regret is loudest when opportunity is gone. Daniel escaped poverty not because he was special, but because he stopped lying to himself. And that is available to anyone brave enough to start. If this story shook you, don't ignore it. Like this video, because algorithms reward truth only when people engage. Share it. Someone you know is silently drowning in delay. Subscribe to Tales by Savvy Sam, because stories like this don't entertain, they transform. And remember, the rules change after 30. Are you over 30 and still playing fair with money? The game is ruthless, and so shall you. But it is still winnable, if you stop playing fair with your future. If this video hurt a little, it means it's working. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.